Hey guys, what's going on? So, as y'all know, I am now over 1,000 subscribers, and oh, I don't really know what to say other than thanks. I didn't think I'd even go past 500. Um, so I wanted to do a Q&A, and I was actually just trying to do it live, but apparently people are busy. So I have all the questions written down. Not a lot of questions, but have everybody separated with their names and their questions. I ended up I ended up writing the questions shorter for time's sake, just for simplicity and stuff like that. And I didn't write all the questions on here, but I can remember some of them on here, or some of them in my head. So this is really, I guess I'm ready. So the first one is from one of my favorite YouTubers, Cambo Commando. And for those who don't know who he is a YouTube gamer. He's a really good one. I'm surprised he doesn't have as many followers as he has, but we are both fans of a game that's similar to Fallout called Day R Survival, which I have the premium version from a couple years ago, and that game really is a nice game. I love it. It's like the closest to Fallout if you've never played Fallout. So his question, and I can see what he was trying to say here. His question, in his words, is why did you decide to be a hobo roadrunner? What I think he was asking is why did you decide to be a hobo, and I think he's asking about the name Roadrunner. Um, Hoboing to me goes back to when I was living in my original hometown of San Angelo, Texas, out west, which is a Santa Fe and a South Orient town, though just South Orient now. Um, my mom used to be a dispatcher for the city, and while she was a dispatcher, she would get free tickets to go to like hockey games, soccer games, stuff like that. And she would also get tickets to go to the train station, the old Santa Fe station, which they turned into a museum back in like the 80s or 90s. I want to say 90s. And across the street from the museum is, or was, the South Orient station, which is the old Santa Fe station, which is now a nursing home. My mom would take me there, and we used to watch South Orient Railroad go by all the time. And I don't know if it's still there because I haven't been there in so many years. I think I saw it when I went out there back in 2015 or 2016. There was a little exhibit area in the train station because again it's a whole rail station. I mean a whole rail museum, and part of it they had a hobo exhibit, and that was the first time I actually saw anything hobo related. And then when I moved to Lufkin, every now and then you would see people riding on the trains, whether they're hanging off on the side, which is stupid, or you'd see people in boxcars and shit like that. And then I met Gringo Bandito, who also goes by the name Tex Goth. That's both of his monikers. He's a good friend of mine. I still talk to him to this day. I was actually just talking to him about a week or so ago. He was the guy when I was 14 years old who showed me how to ride trains because in Lufkin we have A&R Railroad, which is our Class 3 company, and then we have Union Pacific going south from north to south to from Shreveport to Houston, and then another Class 3, Tech Southeastern, which was the second company I rode, is in the next town south of us, in Diboll. And yeah, now these days, I think it is kind of weird for an adult to take a 14-year-old kid to take a freight train, but at that time, I didn't know anything about that stuff. So it didn't really seem weird. And then the name Roadrunner actually came from my brother's ex girlfriend's grandmother, who I used to be very close with years ago. And she asked me, I want to say, oh, probably, like I said, either 2015 or 2016, she asked me, how many towns I've been to and yada yada yada. And she said something to the effect that I was like a roadrunner going from town to town looking for work. And that's where the name Roadrunner came from. So after that, I started just going by Roadrunner, and then I used the name Hobo Roadrunner, especially when I started doing YouTube. And then in 2019, when I went to Brit for the first time, that's when, because I became a member of Tourist Union 63, that's when my name got legally changed in the Hobo Road to the Texas Roadrunner, which we went through a ceremony and stuff like that. So that's where the name Hobo Roadrunner comes from, and that's why I decided to be a hobo. Or well, I guess okay, I didn't actually get to that point. I decided to be a hobo because of the fact that there's a lot of freedom in this kind of lifestyle, and a lot of it's dangerous freedom. You know, you can go out and ride freight trains. I mean, it's possible, not legal, but it's possible. You can walk on the side of highways. You can hitchhike. You can camp on the side of the road. You can do all this stuff. You can sleep under bridges, but there's a lot of danger that comes with it. But as Brian Young from High Impacts would say, I'd rather have dangerous freedom than all these governmental security. Basically, I would rather have dangerous freedom than security. Which that's a whole nother thing I gotta talk about some other time. So another question. This is a two-part question. This comes from Braden Seifert. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Actually, Braden's friend was the one who got us from that. God, I'm so tired. I can't remember the town's name. The town we were just in Oklahoma, before me and Cooter met up. Anyways, his friend was the one who got us down to Denton, Texas, so I could take the train up north with Cooter to get to McAllister and then Kansas. His question is, what is the most scared or in fear for your life due to natural reasons or people or causes? Like I said, I shortened these questions. The scariest, probably one of the most scariest things in my life, being on the road at least, was when I had that accident on the Santa Fe line over in Clovis, New Mexico. If you didn't see the video, I fell off the side of a freight train back in the summer of 2016 when I was coming back down from the northwest, and I actually split my forehead open up here and I had blood running down, and I was completely out of it. I was lucky too because the Santa Fe employee saw me. He was actually about to call it in, and he ended up instead was able to call 911 and get an ambulance to come get me and bring me to the hospital. And that's actually where I started my first job working on farms, because the people I started working with, they just happened to be at the same hospital and they saw me when I came in. That is probably one of the most scariest. The other most scariest, or yeah, most scared was when I lost Xena. Seeing her in a pool of her own blood, and having her for so many years is something that I never wanted to see, and it's not the way I was hoping that my relationship with her would have ended. And when I say relationship, I'm talking about, like, she was my best friend. She was my daughter. She was the first dog to actually travel with me on the road. She was my protector, and old age is one thing when a dog dies, but to be killed by another dog and to see her wounded, I mean, there's a reason I didn't film it, because it was really gruesome. And I think that's really the downfall of me being in Lufkin, because when that happened, after that, just everything just started falling apart. I was getting into it with my mother again. My brother basically shamed me, shamed my life, my hobo lifestyle, said I was basically a bum and shit, yet he's a complete dick anyways, but, um, you know, that, and then losing Avery like 5 or 6 months later just completely tore me up, which is one of the reasons why we left Lufkin. And I feel like if we didn't settle down, I really feel like Xena and Avery would still be here right now with me and Marmaduke. So yeah, I still get nightmares, walking in the door and seeing Xena dead, or walking in the bathroom and seeing Avery's lifeless body just sitting there needing to be buried. I still get nightmares from that. Waking up crying. I just can't handle that stuff. But anyways, that's the answer to that question. And his bonus question: that he sent in. He says, "Do you believe in anything cryptid, such as ghosts, Bigfoots, etc.? If so, do you got any stories to tell?" Yeah, I do believe in ghosts. I don't believe in Bigfoots. For the simple reason somebody could just put a suit on and the person taking the photo can claim it's Bigfoot. But ghost, I do believe in. I told a story too about probably 2017, early 2018. Actually, it was probably 2019 because I think I just got in Avery too when I did this story. We were in Jefferson, Texas. Actually, I was in Jefferson, Texas. I didn't have Xena yet, so this was probably late 2016 or late 2017. Um, I usually walk the KCS rail bridge back and forth because of the fact that it's safer than walking the main highway because people like to speed there when during the night when they think there's nobody like cops and such around. So I'd rather be walking the rail bridge. Plus, you can catch a train there anyways. One night, I was walking from downtown Jefferson to go back to my jungle, my camp jungle, whatever you want to call it, and I look up at the tree, and if you're from Jefferson, you're watching this, you know what I'm talking about. When you walk across the rail bridge, there's this property to the left, and then there's the bayou under the bridge, and there's this property to the right that you could take to go down to the bayou. Well, there's like a little group of trees right there, and I looked up, and there's this light. Okay, there's no light pole or anything up there. Now I'm thinking now these days maybe it was a drone, but I would have known because it would drones usually have a red dot light on it that you can see at night, and you can usually hear their the rotating propellers on it. I didn't hear anything. All I saw was that one light, and that was it. And it was the weirdest thing ever because it was up there for a couple minutes and then it was gone, completely gone. I still to this day have no idea what it is, and most people would say maybe it was something in the sky, but I would have saw where it went or whatever, and it stayed in the trees. I still to this day have no idea what it is, but I do believe in ghosts. I've been in abandoned houses. I used to, believe it or not, I used to live in the Linda Boggs Medical Center, which is an abandoned hospital in New Orleans. Most people know of the Charity Hospital, the big one. Well, when Katrina hit, it actually put not only that hospital out of action, it put the Linda Boggs Medical Center, which is about, I think, a half a mile away down the road or whatever, out of action too. And I actually used to live up on on like the second floor of where the chapel is. And if you've been there, if you're walking down the hallway to go to the second floor of the chapel, there's a room on the right that used to be like a waiting room or a snack room, whatever, and that's where I used to sleep. And I actually found like this big kitchen knife in there, and I was just brand new to the road, just gone on the road, um, like maybe 5 or 6 months prior to this, and so I didn't really have a lot of stuff at the time. But when I found the kitchen knife, and I'm talking about like this big, look like a butcher's knife, I felt safer because there were people coming into the building. I ran into teenagers and kids and tweakers and stuff like that in that hospital. But and I've heard stuff too. So just saying. But yeah, I do believe in ghosts. Bigfoots, like I said, no, I can't. Unless you show me an actual Bigfoot, a guy not in a suit, I'm not gonna believe you. Okay, so this next one comes from somebody who's been watching me for a while. Obscurity Master, will you ever come to Arizona? And what is your take on marijuana and psychedelics? I've been to Arizona before, and it's not a bad state, but it's not a state that I have really any reason to go to. It's a nice state, visual wise, and I like the woods out there and the forest and all that, but like I said, I don't have a reason to go out to Arizona. So unless somebody puts like a hobo convention or hobo gathering or whatever, I just have no use to go out there. Now, marijuana and psychedelics. I love marijuana. I wouldn't say I'm a pothead. I don't smoke every day. But if somebody offers me pot, I'm gonna smoke it. Now psychedelics, no. I've seen kids tripping out on that shit. I'm not doing that. Fuck that. Another YouTuber, Code Anxiety, if there was a foreign country outside of North America, which originally he said USA, Mexico, and Canada, you wanted to hop or explore, where would you go? Germany. Really? Okay, so mainly Germany, East Germany, the East, what used to be East Germany specifically, but Germany in general, as well as any and all of the Warsaw Pact nations and all the nations that used to be part of the Soviet Union. And the reason for that is because I want to explore the old abandoned military bases. But Germany specifically, obviously, because I speak German, and then because of the fact that a lot of the old Soviet bases that were in East Germany during the Cold War are all abandoned, and I've seen people do videos of them. There's a lot of old Soviet military gear. I'm talking about jackets, uniforms, old rations, stuff like that. I would love to bring back here. Would love to bring back here, especially the old Soviet jackets. Those things are awesome. I used to have one years and years ago, and it got stolen, and it was so warm. I mean, civilian jackets sell got nothing on old Soviet military jackets. And when I'm talking about old Soviets, I'm talking about the ones you used to see them wear during the Second World War and the Korean War and such. But yeah, I would love to go there just because of that, and due to the fact that I love German culture, a lot of it, the food, the language. The language is so easy. People think it's hard. It's really easy. It has nothing with me knowing actual German people. It's just because of the fact, like, mother in German, that's Mutter or Mutter, depending on which part of Germany you come from. There's a high German and a low German. So depending on which one you're using, also depends on how you're going to pronounce different German words, as well as the dialect and such. Um, and of course, I like listening to Rammstein and Klaus und Klaus, and just other groups and such. But yeah, mainly Germany, and if I have the chance, I would love to just go to like all the old Warsaw Pact nations and like just explore the old abandoned military bases and like I said, the old Soviet Union nations and shit like that. Let's see, that's done with that question. Okay, we're almost done here. Bo Wiz, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Well, I hope I'm still here at the farm. See, I have a an agreement with a friend of mine who actually who owns the place, quote unquote. And the agreement is, unless we come up with something different, is I will be here during the fall and the winter seasons. And then during the spring and the summertime, I would go out on the road and make money and come back with supplies and gear and stuff like that. To be honest, I'd rather just stay here permanently if she allows it. I would hope that she does. If not, I mean, that's fine. It's just I feel more at home here than I have anywhere else. I mean, literally, there's only 100 people here in this town, and that's really all I need. Let's see. Ringwood. Why is the vagabond lifestyle good for America? If not, is it bad? So, I might sound like I'm tooting my own horn. It is good, but in some cases, it's bad. The reason why it's bad is because basically the vagabond hobo culture has basically been hijacked. And when I say hijacked, I'm talking about it's been taken over by these dirty crust punk kids, okay? And punk rock ain't bad. Hell, I used to fucking listen to it all the time. I still listen to some of it. The Hates, which is the oldest original punk rock Texas band here, has been around since 1976. I actually used to play with the Hates, okay? Their lead guitarist slash singer, Christian Kidd, is actually a friend of mine. And we talk maybe at least every couple weeks, sometimes every couple months. When I played with them, Christian obviously was doing lead guitar and vocals. I was on rhythm. It was David was on. I'm trying to remember. David was on bass. No, David was on drums, and then somebody else was on. Oh, Michael was on bass. That's right. And that was when I first met them. But I've been listening to them for years. Even when I was a kid, I already knew who they were. But anyways, the reason why it's bad is because these kids basically took over the culture. Basically, back then you used to be able to, for the most part, be able to trust a hobo, knowing that they would do some work for you in exchange for either for money or a meal or a place to stay. Now these kids think all they need to do is go out and hold a cardboard sign asking for money, shoot drugs in their arms and drink beer, and all of a sudden they're a hobo or whatever, and they're not. It's disgusting. It makes the rest of us look bad. That's why, for the most part, I don't have sympathy for a lot of these younger kids, especially dirty kids, because they're basically, not only are they fucking their lives up, they're fucking up the lives of the rest of us who actually do try to find work, who are really hobos. Because now the public has this exception that, as I just said, all hobos are like I just described these dirty kids, and that they can't be trusted. And I mean, I am friends with some of the kids, specifically some girls and a couple guys. Um, but I would never see myself as a dirty kid because it's just not my lifestyle. That's their lifestyle. My lifestyle is being a hobo and an outdoorsman. And nothing of the dirty kid culture has any relevance on my culture, which is hobos and vagabonds and outdoorsmen and such. So it is good. Like I said earlier in the beginning of the video, you do get to have a lot of freedom. Obviously, you're not paying taxes except for sales tax when you're buying stuff. You're not paying rent or bills and stuff like that. I mean, here it would be kind of different for me if they needed help with something, but for the most part, I'm not really paying for anything unless I want to go buy something if I have money. Other than that, it's the most freedom. But like I said, we have this very bad perception with the public because, as I just mentioned, these dirty kids, and even the fucking home bums and the tramps and shit, they just fuck it up for the rest of us. Let's see. Next question, Katie. Is your family supportive of your lifestyle? Yes and no. Um, there's that old saying that blood is thicker than water. I don't find that true, and you'll see why in the next questions. Um, if you're talking about my extended family, like Cooter and Brooke and all them, yeah, obviously, because Cooter's a hobo and so is Brooke. My adopted mother, Marissa, and her family are very supportive of what I do. Um, they hold on to stuff for me. They will help me get to towns if they have the time and the gas, etc. Just stuff like that. They're very supportive of what I do. Um, so, yes and no, and the no part I'll explain in a minute. And we're getting close to the end of this video, hopefully. This is from the most famous, one of the most famous hobo supporters on YouTube, Mr. B. His first question: where are you headed next? I have no idea. I really don't know. I think we were only supposed to be here for a few days, and I'm gonna be here all fall and winter, unless something changes, as I mentioned. What's the worst, crappiest place you've ever slept at night? And didn't you used to sleep in the shacks at Home Depot? The worst, crappiest place I've ever slept was jail. I've been to jail twice, and I hate sleeping on those concrete beds. Even if you have the mattress that they give you, those things are so flimsy and thin, they do not help. Though, the wool blankets are actually very warm. Um, so in the hobo world, we actually have a saying, a name for those shelters at the Home Depot and the Lowe's. We call those or hobo Hiltons or something like that. I don't really call them that. I just call them shelters. Um, Actually heard that from Cooter. But yeah, it's there. I don't really like sleeping in those much because with my anxiety, I have this fear that, if you go in there, even with my dogs, somebody's gonna try to fucking mess with you. And if I can't see somebody around me 24/7 when I'm trying to sleep, I actually start to freak out a little bit. I really do. Like right now, it's fine because I'm on our farm. But when I'm talking about like out in public or in the middle of the woods, if I can't see what's going on around me, I do kind of freak out. Especially if the dogs start barking at something and I can't see it. my heart starts to pump real fast. Um, he says, "What happened to the house in Lufkin? It's still there." Um, I guess I have to explain what happened. And does your mom still own it? As far as I am aware, she does. What happened was when we were coming back down from Iowa, we were like I said, we actually were planning on staying in Brick. And yeah, we had some problems with people, but the other main problems of why we had to come back was because of the fact that the Jeep was breaking down, which ties in to his one of his questions: what happened to the Jeep? The Jeep was breaking down, supposedly. See, I don't really know much about cars. I really don't. I could tell you shit about trains, bicycles, boats. I don't know jack shit about cars. It was at the point where actually I had to call Cooter all the time or Aaron to try to figure out how to do this, that, and the other when it came to a vehicle. And they were really helpful with it. Um, I just didn't do the oil and the radiator and stuff like that. I didn't really know anything on that stuff, so I kind of fucked up on that part. And as we all know, Avery ended up drinking radiator fluid, which is what killed her. And that was another reason why we had to come back down from Iowa. When I got home, my mother ended up cutting all the grass, which I knew she was going to do. But I specifically told her, if I remember correctly, I specifically told her, don't cut this grass over here. Sean, my sheep, needs that grass. She cut it anyways, right? Not only was the grass cut, my compost pile, which I spent a lot of time on making, was gone. My garden was completely gone, all mowed down. My beehive, as y'all know, was completely knocked over. They said that the wind blew it over. That's bullshit. See, the way the beehive was knocked over, I have I had two privacy fences like this, and the beehive is sitting right here. I got trees over here on this side of the fence blocking the wind, and then I got the house over here blocking this side of the wind, okay? The way the hive was knocked over, it was knocked over going this way, meaning it's going towards the house where a privacy fence is behind it. So there's no way the wind would have knocked it over. Plus, it wasn't tall enough, anyways, for the wind to knock it over, anyways, with any energy. It basically came up to somewhere between my knees and my waist. So there's no way. And then it actually split open from the impact, I'm assuming, and the sun and the heat